On this Thanksgiving, I have a great deal to be grateful for. Excellent friends, a wonderful family with whom I am about to share a fantastic meal. However, near the top of that list, I'm thankful that I am not J.D. Vance. Because just imagine being J.D. Vance, having no real sense of self, lacking morals, and having virtually no one who genuinely likes you. Furthermore, the people who pretend to, they often ridicule you behind your back.
They went to the weirdest places.
Oh my gosh. You guys, please. So for those of you who know me, I hug.
Yes, you're an intense hugger.
Whoever
awesome.
is like hating on a hug needs a hug themselves. I will give you a free hug anytime you want a hug. My love language is touch, if you will. But seriously, that hug. So I will give you a play-by-play. I'm walking. They just played the emotional video. I'm walking over. He's walking over. I'm starting to cry. He says he's so proud of you, and I say, God bless you, and I touch the back of his head. Anyone who I've hugged that I have touched the back of your head when I hug you, I always say, God bless you. That's just me. If you want to take that out of context, go right ahead. Again, that to me shows that you need a hug more than anyone else. So if anyone...
They were acting like you touched the back of his ass.
And those who openly dislike you frequently comment on your prominent appearance daily. It must truly be awful being J.D. Vance because there is one person he is exceptionally keen to please who does not, and that is his superior. That superior is reportedly dashing his biggest aspiration in a recent expose detailing how the president is turning on his own potential vice president and constantly mocking him. We will explore all the details.
This is a uniquely American thing. That's why, for example, we have, turkey. Think about turkey. Who really likes, be honest with yourselves, who really likes turkey? You're all full of shit. Everybody who raised your hands. I know. Think about it. And here's how I know that every single one of you who raised your hand is lying to me. How many times do you roast an 18-pound turkey just randomly? Just, a nice summer afternoon, we're going to go get an 18-pound turkey.
But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to like this video, and if you haven't already and appreciate our content, to hit that subscribe button because it greatly aids our continued efforts. Before we delve into reports of how the president is allegedly slighting J.D. Vance both directly and indirectly, I want to begin with someone who perhaps admires Vance a bit too much, and it's quite awkward. That's Erica Kirk. Honestly, I am not convinced by the narrative that it was merely a small platonic embrace and everything is fine. I sincerely believe that if J.D. Vance felt that divorcing Usha and marrying Erica Kirk would move him closer to the White House, he would certainly do it immediately. And this is why, and I understand some will be upset by this, I tend to view Erica Kirk less as a grieving widow and more as the CEO of Turning Point USA. That's why I am frequently critical of her because she is not someone who said, you know what, I need to take some time away from the public sphere. I need to focus on my family. No. She immediately returned to managing that divisive organization and raising funds to support events largely bankrolled by billionaires who frequently criticize and harass Black women for a living. So, yes, I don't feel bad being critical of Erica Kirk, and certainly not J.D. Vance, because these are some of the most uninteresting and uncharismatic figures in public life, yet they somehow make a living by speaking. It just doesn't make sense to me. Just listen to J.D. discussing his opinions on turkey during Thanksgiving in one of the strangest speeches I've ever witnessed, and it reveals why the president's comments are becoming public. What exactly is he talking about? You dislike turkey? Fine, then have some ham. I don't know. Have some brisket. Do literally anything else but speak. And frankly, I believe the reason these individuals despise turkey so much is because they lack the ability to properly season their food. This is one of the most amusing days of the year on MAGA social media because everyone is unintentionally revealing themselves as a terrible cook. We recall the infamous Marjorie Taylor Greene picture, but look at what Stephen Miller posted today. Is that not the most unappetizing turkey you have ever seen? And the side dishes look bad too. But it's like, Of course, Stephen Miller cannot cook. Of course, Stephen Miller doesn't season his food. He's clearly not a great chef. But this is a self-report from J.D. Vance as well. Also, let's be clear, no one is laughing with you. No one finds you charming. No one finds you engaging. No one thinks you're funny. J.D. Vance is simply such an unlikable character. You wouldn't want to have a casual drink with him. You don't want to spend time with him. You don't even really know who he is. Again, there is a complete lack of authenticity there.
Mentioned, according to a new poll, your race in that very same district is very, very close. So help us understand how you made this thing a toss-up.
Well, this race is competitive because Tennesseans are fed up and we're done being sold out to the highest bidder. And voters across the 7th district want leaders who will fight for their families and not the billionaire boys club who is backing my opponent, my Republican opponent.
I think the conventional wisdom, I just showed part of it. You have this great ad where there's a mechanical bull, which is an example of this. But the conventional wisdom some Democrats might have, or that some people, an analyst out there might have, is that to win a red district like yours, a Democrat might have to tack to the right, or at least tack to the middle. You have run unapologetically progressive. I've mentioned a bunch of things, but you've talked a lot about affordability. But why do you think that has worked in narrowing the gap and not sort of the more traditional go tack to the center approach?
He is not a genuine person. He is an inauthentic shell preoccupied with the question, how do I reach the White House? How do I advance myself? And JD, it is not going to succeed because the people around you see right through you, including the man you are currently begging for an endorsement from, the one you are defending controversial figures on behalf of, hoping to secure that endorsement. But even Donald Trump is reportedly ridiculing J.D. Vance's major ambition. An author discloses how Trump and Bannon are secretly mocking J.D. Vance. Author John Carl suggested that Donald Trump and Steve Bannon are not serious about the president seeking an unconstitutional third term in the White House and are instead promoting the concept to taunt the president's supposed heir, Vice President J.D. Vance. For months, Trump has suggested he might try to run for president again in 2028, despite it being legally prohibited. It appeared Trump was merely provoking his detractors by suggesting he might attempt to retain power or using it as a way to excite his MAGA base during public rallies. However, the president began considering the idea more seriously, telling NBC News in March that he was not joking about exploring how he might remain in office. In October, the 79-year-old president finally acknowledged that the Constitution makes it quite clear he obviously cannot serve a third term. Bannon, a key Trump ally and host of the prominent War Room podcast, told The Economist last month that he was working on a plan that could allow Trump to run again in 2028. The difficulty for Vance, or any other potential 2028 Republican nominee, like Secretary of State Marco Rubio, is that they cannot launch a White House campaign while the MAGA base remains fixated on the idea that Trump will somehow pursue a third term. Speaking on Morning Joe, Carl stated that Trump will struggle to accept that he must eventually vacate office, thereby making him a lame duck president in his final months. At what point does he actually make it clear, no, I'm not running, and it's one of these guys or it's that guy, and now all the attention shifts? Carl said. I covered the Obama White House. You know what it's like in 2015, 2016 when you're a lame duck? Nobody pays any attention. I don't know how he voluntarily passes the baton, he added. I don't think right now he's serious about staying another term. So Donald Trump is simply talking about 2028 in many ways, of course, because he is desperate for attention since his parents never provided it, but also explicitly to troll J.D. Vance. Look, we can permit Donald Trump to do one thing, and that is to mock J.D. Vance. I'll laugh at that one thing, okay? But that's the limit. But isn't it hilarious that JD is such a complete failure that he has entirely compromised himself? He has contorted himself doing whatever Trump demands, saying, "Oh, dear leader, you are so magnificent." And the only thing he seeks from this is the nod for 2028. And Trump's response is, "I'd rather run again." Trump is essentially saying, I'd rather break the law than allow J.D. Vance to be the Republican nominee in 2028. It's also amusing to realize that if Donald Trump were to back Vance, it would somewhat solidify the power that he is currently losing within his own coalition. The MAGA movement is clearly fragmenting right now, and I believe much of this is in anticipation of 2028 as the party attempts to define itself in a post-Trump era, which is precisely why Trump doesn't want them thinking about it. He keeps bringing up 2028. But if he said, yes, Vance is my successor, that would be Donald Trump exerting his influence. It would be Donald Trump continuing to exercise power, Donald Trump stating, hey, even after I'm done being president, I'll still have control over MAGA, and J.D. Vance will ultimately be obedient to me. But he's not even shrewd enough to contemplate that. Or perhaps it's not that he's not shrewd enough. Of course, it is deeply satisfying to him inside, but he views Vance as such a pitiful loser, which he is, that he thinks, I don't even want this guy, really. This guy? It was acceptable when Peter Thiel was going to donate millions to my campaign, and he was involved with all the crypto speculation, and my children liked him, though I'm not sure Donald Trump truly values Don Jr.'s opinion. But he thinks, it was fine when he was my little stooge. But this guy being in power, J.D. Vance, get out of here. And we know that all Vance cares about is the presidency, is the Republican nomination. And so the fact that Trump is not just dangling it, but fully stating absolutely not, is incredibly funny. And I discussed this with Hakeem Jeffries, and he pointed out in that meeting when Trump had the Trump 2028 hats, he looked at Vance asking, are you okay with this, man? You're just going to let him make you his little toy? Like J.D. Vance, I knew he was interested in furniture. I didn't realize he was also Trump's subordinate. All these questionable fantasies J.D. Vance is having fulfilled during his time in public office. He and Eric, I suppose, is what J.D. is distracted by, isn't he? He clearly has other things on his mind. I don't even want to contemplate it. I don't want to think about what is happening with the sofa cushions today on J.D.'s special day. But yes, even Trump looks at this man and thinks, he is a joke, he is a weakling, he is a loser. And I find that hysterical because J.D. Vance is. But Donald Trump is giving him one final opportunity to try to redeem himself. And that is to go to Tennessee immediately for a special election. Afton Bain is an outstanding candidate. She is currently running a powerful grassroots campaign in a district heavily favoring Trump, where she is only 2 points behind right now. And she spoke to Jen Psaki. J.D. Vance just visited that district to try to galvanize support. I honestly feel like if you dispatch J.D. Vance somewhere, it will likely hurt your cause. I don't understand the strategy there, but you need to hear what she had to say. This is an incredible candidate that we must rally behind. For Democrats to even be this competitive in a district that Donald Trump won by a staggering 22 points a year ago, to have it this close, to necessitate sending J.D. Vance, for Donald Trump to have to host a teletown hall. That is remarkable. That is the fracture within the MAGA base. And I am incredibly thankful for that on Thanksgiving. I hope you all have had an excellent day. I hope you are watching some football. I hope you are enjoying some truly delicious food. You are with friends. You are with family. I appreciate you taking the time to spend with me. That means a great deal. We are going to keep fighting on this channel. And if you wish to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around until the very end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, everyone. Don't let them silence you. I'm going to go have some Thanksgiving dinner, but until next time, I'll see you.